Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial in NPR Maya, your channel for learning how to create NPR shaders in Maya software. If you have been following my recent tutorials, you will remember that we have learned the basic structure for creating a procedural shading, how to connect nodes, and how to generate textures using the procedural shading technique. If you missed any video, I will leave the links on the comments for you, so you can watch them and have a texture ready for this tutorial. So, let's get started. From the previous tutorial, we have learned the basic structure for building a procedural shading, but this structure can be modified by adding some nodes before and in between to help us modify some node effects. First of all, we are going to make some modifications to the structure we created in the last tutorial. So, let's go to the texture coordinate and change the repeat UV parameter to 100 for the UV direction and 15 for the V direction. And we are going to rotate the frame to 45 degrees. Now, go to the ramp texture node and select the white color first. Set the position to 0.3. In the V wave parameter, we change the value to 0.3 and we leave the rest as it is. You will notice that we now have a new texture effect with irregular strip ends. And now we are going to use this to create a cross-hatching transition between the highlight and the shadow areas. Firstly, we are going to create another ramp node connected to a material, and we are going to connect it upstream to help us to add a mask to the texture. Let's create the ramp node on the node editor by pressing the tab button and type ramp. The one we need is the ramp texture as before. In this ramp, we are going to leave the type and interpolation parameters as they are, and for the color position, the black is the one that is going to work as a mask, so it's going to cover what we don't want to see. And white is going to allow us to see the part of the texture we want to see. Now, we are going to create another A-tune material. Let's press Tab and type A-tune. Once we have created the material, this time, instead of connecting the ramp to the A-tune shader with the base color as before, we are going to connect it to the base tone map. So, let's click on the out color port and drag it to the top port of the A-tune material. Go to Other, and in the pop-up menu, select Base Tone Map. Now that we have created our mask, let's select and drag this shading network to here, to connect it in the upstream area. The next node we are going to create is a range node, which is a utility node that is going to allow us to adjust the ramp texture we created in the last tutorial. So let's press Tab and type range. We are going to connect the A-tune material of the mask with the range node. To do so, we need to link the out color parameter from the A-tune to the input of the range node. Once that is done, we are going to connect the range node to this ramp texture. In this case, we only need to connect one value from the out color, because we want to control the position of just one of these colors of the ramp. So basically, we are going to make the connection to this parameter. So let's click on the plus sign and select, for instance, the out color red. Let's drag it to the top port of the ramp texture. Go to Other, go down and click on the plus sign of the color entry list parameter. Click again on the plus of any of these parameters. And now, select the color entry list position. As a last step for our process, we are going to add another node called projection, which is going to literally project the texture onto the surface. Let me show you how it works. Press Tab and type projection. To connect it, we need to click on the Out Color port from the ramp texture and drag it onto the image port of the projection node. And now we need to connect the projection node to the A2 material. So let's click on the Out Color port of the projection node and drag it to the base color node of the A2 material. Now that we have our projection node, we are going to link it to our perspective camera. So the camera is going to act as a projector of our texture. To do so, let's go to the projection node, and on the projection type, we need to change it from the planar to perspective. Let's go now to the camera projection attributes tab, and on the link to camera parameter, we are going to change to perspective shape, which is our current camera. And on fit to fill, we need to change fill to horizontal. Now that all our connections are done, let's drag and drop our material to the object. This time we are going to create a sphere, which is going to help us to see the effect better. We notice the looking of the texture is weird at the moment. To adjust it and get the effect we want, we need to go back to the range node. On the input minimum, we are going to put 1.4. On the input maximum, 0.7. On the output minimum, 1.65. And on the output maximum, we are going to put 0.96. And now we can see the cross-hatching transition between the highlight and shadow. And that is all for now with this tutorial. I hope you like it and found it helpful, and I will see you in the next one.